This question refers automatically to the beginning, where I decided to go into performance as an alternative to the traditional way of producing art, like painting, sculpture, and things, you know. For this reason, I became a performer, but I kept a kind of link with the material, especially producing devices, producing form for attitude, for my attitude, but somebody else's attitude too. And performing, it means doing something in time, doing something dynamically. And I think, and for me, this was also very important, reflecting on my surname. My surname is Morbin, and in Venetian dialect, somebody having Morbin, it means have exceeding energy, lots of energy to spend. So I think it was quite a natural transformation, you know. It can be very ironical thinking about, you know, I get retired, so I thinking to Ozionismo. But in fact it's not, because the term is quite classic, and the term, but also the meaning is quite classic. It refers to a kind of behavior that you have to produce in order to clean your mind and your body, and to be devoted to think something. The Greek philosopher, they had this need, they felt this need, and they try, through the term, they try to talk about this problematic, you know, otium and negotium, you know, two opposite terms, you know. But I also liked this term for other reasons, not only for this classical origin, of course. First of all, I wanted to present this manifesto in Vienna, especially in Vienna, because in the last century, you had one of the most famous worldwide movements called actionismus, you know. And it looks like if Ozionismo, it could be the opposite. It could be an opposite movement. But for me, it's not. Because a behavior, it's a behavior, you know. There are very slow action. When I say slow, I mean that some of this action, you find it very difficult to perceive it. And mindly talking, you think that they don't exist, but they are there under your eyes, you know. And the other reason is that on the 21st of October, I get retired. I was a professor at the Art Academy in Verona, and I went in a phase in which I was close to the end of my activity. And I kept thinking, you know, not to convince me, but generally, as if it was a public dialogue, you know. What does an artist do? If I am a carpenter, for instance, I can't stop to work with the wood. I can't stop if I am a craftsman. I can't stop to work with iron, to marble, whatsoever, you know. But what should I do if I am an artist? What does an artist when he retires? And further question, if we are talking about a conceptual artist, what does he do? Does he stop to think, you know? Is he or she no longer thinking? And I found quite deep questions, and at the same time ironical, you know. And so I tried, first of all, to give myself an answer, and through this, following this need of answer, this activity of exploration, let's say, became this exhibition, you know, which state a kind of turn, a kind of change of mood, you know. And this change produced things quite not so evident, sometimes also invisible. Now the problem is, just because something is very subtle and sometimes invisible, is it existing or not? For me, it does exist. You know, there are many things, you know, that run away from your sight, but they are there. They are quite concrete, you know. So these were the starting point for my for this exhibition and for the prolong of my activity in Ozionismo. Actually, I should say Ozionismus. Most of the objects are a sort of device. They are, I mean, something that can be used. For instance, this is the name of this installation is posatoio. To take a pose, it means to behave in a way that you produce a static action, you know. This static action assume also aesthetical profile, let's say, you know. And with the term posatoio, posatoio means a place in which you can take a pose, okay? So it's a place in which you can perform attitude, you know. And this attitude, they become specific, they become visual through this plate that are exactly the mold of a pose in which you can take the related pose, like this, you know. I'm resting like this, you know. That's why it's called posatoio. Before, I was saying that I was asking what does an artist during his retirement, and if we are talking about a conceptual artist, is he stopping to think? Is he no longer thinking? Well, there has always been a strange kind of side towards art. Sometimes artists are useful to the society, and then the society look for them. When they are not useful, very often art has not a meaning, you know. What does that mean? You know, it's art. What's art is there for, you know. This has always been as a question there, you know. It's not something new. It has always been. And I have also to add that despite that question, humanity could never, how do you say, forget it. humanity always needed to report that humanity have with art, with every kind of form of art, as if at a certain point this unuseful attitude is essential for human beings. So my work through this exhibition is also an investigation in this issue, which has always been there all through the phases of art history. And I do it without taking a position. Maybe I take a pose instead of a position. This is the official presentation of the manifesto of Ozionismo, and that means that it is the first time that I present also this exhibition, this related work to the manifesto. As I said before, I wanted firmly to present it in Vienna for this association, even if in distance, with actionismus. And when I say that, it's not an opposition of actionism, because I intend Ozionismus, because we are in Vienna, a kind of behavior. So this means that Ozioni, they are action. They just call with another term. They are just action not so evident. They are very slow action. To give you an idea of the difference among this kind of action and the normal action of everyday life is like if we could talk about the species evolution. If I look around me, I can't perceive the evolution. I can't see it, but I know that an evolution exists. And you can't perceive it, you can't see, because it's a very, very slow phenomenon.